What's up, everybody? My name's Trey, and welcome back to the channel. And a super exciting video that I think you're gonna watch. Because if you don't know, I'm starting a series, and this is actually episode 1 of the series or podcast with my buddy Percy on how exactly we are going to escape the rat race through our side business or our agency that we run. I guess, well, we're going to be going through exactly the steps that we're taking in order to quit our jobs and work full time for ourselves. I think it's going to be an interesting series. I think you're going to learn a lot, and I really hope you enjoy it. But if you are new to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell to get notified every time I post a video. And let's go ahead and get into it.
So, Percy, what is going on, my boy? As you know, this is episode 1 of the actual podcast, or I guess it's a podcast if you can see us, whatever. No, I'm not worried about that. Of escaping the rat race, which, if you don't know what that is, it's basically just not having to go to a job full time and making enough money online so you can do whatever you want. Percy and I have kind of come to the understanding that going to work ain't it. Companies can kind of decide if they want to let you go. You don't make enough money for what you do. And it's kind of just time to figure out how to do it on our own. If you don't know, we do run an agency that helps people make passive income. This isn't necessarily about that. This is kind of just a podcast that we are trying a new business venture that I think is going to be pretty profitable for us, which is lead generation. So, Percy, if you want, go ahead and explain kind of what lead generation is. We'll kind of get into, what we're excited about it and how we are going to use that to escape our 9-to-5 jobs.
Yeah, man, I'm just that little tired rat, just constant going around on this wheel, bro. I'm ready to just fling off of it and fly off. You know what I'm saying? But then hit a nice landing and then take off running. You know what I'm saying? But as far as the lead generation, you know how businesses usually need to acquire some kind of leads from different channels, whether that's from YouTube, Google, Facebook marketing, or just organic social media posting. Anytime that somebody puts an inquiry for a job or something like that, they call in for whatever services you provide, that is a lead. So what we're looking to doing is running Google ads not for businesses, but we're essentially building a website already that we're going to run ads to, and that'll generate leads by themselves. And then we're going to connect a service provider to that website. So we're basically renting out that website that we built, and those leads that we create from Google Ads that we run to the website now get attached to a service provider, some lucky dude that gets it, that he understands the importance of leads. And it's not us actually running their marketing, because that's a pain in the ass. You know what I'm saying?
And we really stumbled across this because how we really started out was drop shipping. So essentially being the middleman for people getting the products. So basically you would run ads or you would post on certain e-commerce platforms and then send the product from the manufacturer to the end customer. And we were like, well, can't we make this model work just with leads and with services? Because if you don't know, if you are drop shipping or doing Amazon FBA, sometimes you only make $5 when you sell a product. And the sheer volume that you have to do to make a lot of money through e-commerce it's a hassle, to be honest with you. Selling thousands of products every single month is difficult in itself, but it's even more difficult when it comes to how you actually manage it. So we were kind of looking at, well, if we are sending a service professional leads in a high ticket niche, whether it be like concrete or tree services or roof repair or towing, something that they can charge a decent amount of money for their services, we don't have to send them that many leads, and we can charge them a decent amount of money every single month to drive in those leads. So I think it's just a really easy transition. I guess I shouldn't say easy, but it's, in my opinion, a smart transition to go from selling products to now basically helping clients, which are business owners, actually get leads so they can do their services. That's kind of how we stumbled across this model. Some people call it rent, then rank, which is you're selling the website first. You're using that client's money to build out the rest of the website and run ads and things like that. Some people call it rent, then rank, where they make the website, they let it rank organically, they get organic leads, and then they rent it out. So that's kind of what we're testing out, what we're trying to do in this process. Like I said, I think it's going to be really profitable. It'll be an area that we really focus a lot of our effort, or really all of our effort on, will be actual lead generation, running a lead generation company, and then also content creation. I'm going to focus on doing about 3 to 5 videos every single week, just to keep me accountable in building up kind of the brand of our agency, the brand of my channel, with the hopes of driving in clients that want our services on the back end. We kind of talked earlier, we know that content creation doesn't drive in a lot of money right now because we're not monetized on our social media platforms. But over time, I think it's going to be really important for us to build up a brand and show people that we know what we're talking about. And we've been doing this for a very long time, which I think is really important too.
Yeah, no, 100%. And just to go back to your rank and rent, so I guess we're more doing rent than rank, right? Because we're running
Yeah.
Google ads to the website,
Yeah.
and then tagging those leads to a service provider. Some people might not know that, just the kind of the back and forth, the rank and rent versus rent and rank. We tried a little bit of the rent then rank, didn't we? Or we didn't try to run organic
So we did
Google ads.
rank then rent is what I started. I started that like 7,
Yeah,
8 months ago. I built a ton of websites and niches that I thought were pretty good in cities that I thought made sense. But ranking organically
just slow,
is
huh?
it's just a slow process. So I was like, there has to be a way to really speed up this process, get you a client quickly, which is running ads. And then as your site begins to rank, you can basically turn down the ads because you're getting organic leads. So basically, it's like organic
It
leads are low,
balances
and
out.
you can just shut them off and basically flip flop so that you're no longer having to pay for leads unless you want to, I guess. Or at least that's how I learned it. I learned it from Nick Wood. I'll actually leave his channel down below. Now, there's a lot of people online that actually teach it. A lot of people have courses about it. That's just who I learned it through. He posts a ton of content on it, and I thought it made sense just conceptually with the business model. As we do have websites up, they get calls every now and then. And we just got a website, get a form filled out for a job, but we haven't started running ads yet. And that's really what we're going to focus on. It's just how to run the ads, how to be good at running ads so we can get these service professionals actual leads coming in on a
Yeah,
consistent basis. So,
and we tried to get a hold of Google to help us run these ads, but tell
yeah,
tell us what happened with that.
reached out to Google customer service because I don't like spending money if I don't necessarily know what I'm doing.
I don't think
So,
anybody does.
well, I don't know. Some people like they like gambling, so like that's like I don't
Yeah,
gamble if I'm like
I
if
love
I'm like
gambling.
craps, for instance. Like I don't play craps because I'm like first of all I barely understand the rules, and like I
My
don't want to
favorite
bet
game.
money in something I really don't understand. Like I'll bet money on blackjack, so like I understand it, I know how to play it, like I'm cool with that.
50-50
But
chance.
yeah, but Google ads, I've never ran Google ads before, and like spending $50 to $100 a day on Google ads when I've never ran them before and I don't really know what I'm doing, I just don't feel comfortable. So like, let me reach out to Google. They'll probably have some customer service person get on a call, and hopefully they'll explain what I'm supposed to be doing or show me how the ads work. Hopefully they're just not like, yeah, you just click buttons and see what happens. So hopefully they actually tell me. But I did that. What was that 2 days ago? I think
Yeah,
a couple days ago,
yeah.
and
Well, what's crazy is that it seemed like for a second there that she was gonna put you in with somebody, but
yeah,
then she's
immediately,
like, she put you on hold,
yeah,
and
and
then
then they
she's like,
hung up,
oh, sorry, like all our reps are busy at the moment, and then they're
and
supposed to
then
give you a call back,
they never did. So I
and
was
they
like, all
never
right,
did.
I'll
So
call
you
back
called,
in.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, I called back in. I was like, let me schedule a time because then if I schedule a time, they have to call me or at least they have a time slot for me. And it was like, your next time slot is going to be in 2.5 weeks. And I was like, well, that's too long. And I was like, so what we can do in the meantime is hopefully put our brains together because it seems like other people have figured it out with less help. And hopefully we can figure this out. I mean, we run a 6-figure agency. We should be able to figure out some Google ads. So
Yeah.
that's the
Yeah,
goal.
I mean, it's like when you run like Facebook ads, but Facebook ads, I feel like as long as your copy was like, it was very straightforward. I feel like,
I don't
you choose
know.
your target audience, you choose a couple niches, and then make sure your ad copy is decent, and then you press publish, and man, it got you impressions, man. Like Facebook was
It
really good
did.
about that.
It got you
Like,
impressions. My biggest thing was there's so many variables with running ads. So
yeah.
specifically with drop shipping, if your ad copy wasn't good, you get no conversions. If your product wasn't good, no conversions. If your
Oh,
store
I'm not
sucked,
talking about
conversions. But
conversions. I'm talking about just getting
oh, just
eyeballs.
impressions. Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
like
it seems like
like
any basic platform will give you impressions, but it's like, do they actually convert? Because that's the only part that actually matters.
that's the
So
only thing that matters for sure. Yeah. But it's
yeah,
just it seemed that whenever we did run some Google ads, it wasn't like a crazy amount of impressions, was it?
no, it wasn't a crazy amount of impressions, and I don't know if I just set them up wrong, but on Facebook, like Facebook is gonna spend your money regardless. Like
That's
even
what
if
I'm
your ad
saying.
isn't
Yeah.
set up right, they're gonna spend the money. Google, it didn't do that. Like Google would spend money, like it would spend money one day, and then one day it wouldn't spend any money, and then it would spend money one day, and it wouldn't spend any money the next day. So I was like, I don't know if I was like putting something in wrong, or if like a setting was hit to where it just wasn't spending my budget, or maybe that's what Google just thought was good. Like I don't know, because it's different than
Yeah.
Facebook. It's like a bid strategy. So maybe
Yeah.
people were just outbidding me. Like I don't
Low key, I never whenever I like Google something, I never click on the sponsored ads.
know. No, I don't either. I always go by.
Uh yeah. I think it's because they are sponsored, so I don't know, like it's something triggering about it
I
that
don't
I
know.
just don't choose those.
I'm also never really like if I'm on Google searching for something, I'm normally never in immediate need of it. Like I might just doing like research, and I'm like, well, I don't need to call a company today. Like I'm just looking up how much stuff costs or whatever the case may be. So I would
Right.
assume that they will work when people actually have a need for it. Like if you're like, hey, my basement's flooded, and I'm gonna click on the first ad that comes up because somebody has to come and save my house essentially. So maybe, but also I'm just not a person that clicks on ads in general. So
No, me neither. And then it's crazy. Well, because you know it's also going to spend their money as well. Like you're clicking on it,
also
it's like, oh,
I
and I
always
feel
feel
bad
bad, yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
when I
I'm
click
like,
on an ad on
oh man,
accident, I'm like, oh dang, just spent
shit.
you
And
$5. Like my bad, I didn't even mean to click on that. Yeah, I
immediately
understand that.
back out. It's like,
Yeah.
oh man.
So um so you want to go over what are kind of our goals? So this is essentially we're gonna count this as month one with lead generation. Now we are kind of starting um, in a different spot in the terms of we already have websites that are made. Some of them are ranking. They might not be on the first page of Google, but some of them get calls. Some of them have some forms filled out when it comes to leads. So we're not starting from ground zero. We already have a nice little base, ton of websites built. We just have to figure out how the actual ads work. But do you want to go over what our kind of our month one goals are for lead generation?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, goal number one for the first month is get the first lead. Like we need to start getting paying clients. And as soon as that happens, and as soon as we can see some results from the Google ads, I mean, we should be able to just run with it. As soon as
Yep.
we can figure out that system and actually get leads for businesses, because I mean, truly, that's what we want. Yeah, we want to make money, but if we can't provide the service, then obviously, I don't think either of us would feel comfortable, and nobody should feel comfortable providing a service that actually doesn't do any good.
Exactly.
And and that'll be definitely goal number one, priority number one is to get the first paying client, which I don't think should be very difficult.
If we can figure out the
Myself,
leads.
just the leads, it's just getting
Yeah.
them and consistently. Like we can
Right.
obviously get leads, but is it going to happen consistent enough to where a business wants to pay for it? Because that's what we want to see. We want to show them results. Once your value is better than what the cost is, then it's a no brainer.
That's one thing I was really excited about too, especially like just about the business model. Because we're targeting high ticket businesses, we don't necessarily have to send them 1,000 leads every single month. Like if
No,
you are doing like bathroom remodel, for instance, like you really only need a handful of those to make a decent amount of money. So we pick niches that are high ticket. The end consumer is going to pay a decent amount of money to get their service done, and the business owner should be happy with anywhere between like 5 and 15 leads. Obviously, the more we can get them, the better. But we shouldn't have to focus too much on just like pure volume of leads. If we can just get a handful of really good leads that convert, I think we'll be fine. And it should be scalable because we can just copy the ads and put them in different cities um, to hopefully run the same. But yeah, so month
yeah,
one goal is basically number one, figuring out Google ads, which we should have the ads up probably tomorrow, day after tomorrow. and then hopefully getting a client by the end of month one. And then I think once we actually have that client and we have an ad that's working consistently, we should have a very good understanding of how to scale. Maybe not super aggressive. I mean, obviously, month two, we won't say, hey, let's go out and get 100 clients. Like, we're not going to do something crazy like that, but we should have a very good understanding of how quickly we should be kind of scaling the business and what that looks like, with the goal ultimately being at the end of the year to be out of the rat race and just kind of running lead generation full time and obviously making content full time. So
Yeah, and also we just got to check, make sure we qualify the business, to make sure that they can close the leads. That's something that might be a concern. Um, but as long as we do our due diligence, make sure that we're listening to the conversation, from the lead to the service provider, and we're actually making sure they're actually good at sales or somewhat good at what they do at closing. Just because I know a lot of businesses, they like to blame the leads at all times most of the
it's not
time.
always the leads. Yeah.
It's not
Sometimes just
always
the
the
sales
lead.
process. Mm-hmm.
It is, yeah. They might not be good at calling back. They might not be asking the right questions. Maybe they're too nonchalant about the lead. You know what I mean? So it's just something that's going to be interesting to see from the business perspective. So we can
Yeah. And
retain. We can retention.
yeah. Also, I think that's going to be the most important part. Like, sure, you want to be able to get leads, you want to be able to run ads, but can you retain the actual service professionals? Because that's what's really showing the value. If you have somebody that's stuck with you for a year and they have your services, obviously that means that you're giving some type of value to them that they want to continue to pay for. And that's really like the goal is, if every client is paying anywhere between $1,000 to $5,000 a month, just hypothetical, if you can get 40 clients, which I don't think 40 clients would be an enormous amount for us to actually manage. I mean, it's a couple calls to them a week just to make sure they're good and the leads are coming in fine and stuff like that. And I mean, you're looking anywhere between 40 to $100,000 a month in profit from a handful of clients. So it'll be interesting. Retention is going to be really important. I also think of having a contract in place, like a 3 or 6 month contract, um, will be important too, just so we know for at least this amount of time we have this client. So we need to make sure we work out all the kinks of keeping them on as a client by the end of the contract too. Would be pretty important.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I mean, at first it's the free trial. That's how we get them on the hook. They start getting a couple calls, and they see that it's legit. That's coming from us. And then once they see the value in that, it should be easy money after that. Especially they should have
And
no problem
so,
signing on the
because
dotted line.
you've already talked to a couple like service professionals. I know you talked to one that he was like, yeah, I like, of course I want some free leads. So it doesn't seem like they really fight back too terribly much on the initial conversation. Um,
No,
Obviously, kind of the bigger the company or bigger the business, you have to talk to more people. There are a lot more gatekeepers involved and things like that.
yeah,
But
for
I think
sure.
if we are qualifying them, finding the right, like, yeah, you want to be a like a business that's already making money, but we don't need you to be making $1 million a year or anything like that. Like, if you are
Right.
profitable and you're like, hey, I do want to scale my business, even ever so slightly, then it should make a lot of sense, which is, exactly kind of the businesses we're looking for anyway. So
Yeah, a lot of people are just afraid to pick up the phone and call a random person.
yeah,
And
that's also
that's
true.
that, and that's what's if you're not in sales or you're not used to doing something like that, it can be a scary thing. I mean, I still get a little weirded out, or I plan a little bit about what I'm going to say or how I'm going to say it.
Right.
It gets especially a little sketchy when the gatekeeper answers. It's always tricky to kind of get around the gatekeeper,
Yeah.
but you should think of it as a game. But I think what's going to get, not us, luckily we have the experience, but what's going to get other people, and what gets most people, is just not actually taking action and making the phone calls and having
See,
the
I think
conversation.
that's what hangs people up on anything though. Like, it's making cold calls or making content. Like, when you first think about making a YouTube video, like, people push that back forever. But actually, like, after you make your first video, you make your first couple videos, you're like, oh, this isn't really that bad. Like, okay, this is fine. Like, I can get in the hang of this. But for people who've never done it before, it is like a daunting task until you actually get some experience under your belt. But that's with everything. That's with going to the gym. That's with eating healthy. Like, everything takes a little bit just to get used to it. And once you actually get your feet wet, you realize like, oh, this isn't really like that bad. So
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty guilty at that. I don't love making YouTube videos, but it is the first time I made it. I was like, all right, this ain't terrible.
Yeah,
It's
but
not
then
this whole ordeal.
it's when you take like 2 weeks off that you're like, oh, I'll get to it next week. Oh, I'll get to it the week after that, and then you're like, oh, it's been 2 months. I haven't made any videos or anything like that. So,
Yeah, man, it's
like
a
that's what I
long-term
fall
play.
into. Yeah,
You
big facts.
gotta look at the long-term play.
So basically, we settled on lead generation being the vessel or the vehicle that we're actually going to use to escape the rat race. Now we do run an agency. We do have like other parts of the agency, whether it be Amazon FBA, Facebook dropshipping, Macari, eBay, all that type of stuff. But really honing in and putting all of our focus to lead generation, I think is going to be really important, especially for this time. Like, hey, let's hit the goals that we have set by the end of the year. Like, obviously, we still have other parts of the agency that we're still kind of managing and dealing with, but majority of our efforts are just going to be spent to lead generation and build this specific part of the business. Goal number one, first we just got to figure out ads. So let's get ads up and going. Let's get a client, hopefully a paying client by the end of the month. And then we can kind of take a look back and say, hey, is this harder, easier than we thought? Can we scale this faster, slower, whatever the case may be? And then kind of like a longer term goal is Percy and I were talking about is going to Bali, making some content when we go to Bali. So hopefully 10 clients is what we were thinking would be the goal, because we're thinking that'll be about $10,000 a month for the agency. And that's more than enough money to go to Bali for a couple days, a week, and just kind of enjoy ourselves, go on vacation.
A month.
I mean, Bali money goes a long way. So that currency
Yeah.
exchange is pretty good. But I'm thinking that's going to be just the whole focus. So basically, this podcast and this style is just going to, first of all, tell you what we're focused on, what we're going to be doing going forward. And then every single week, we'll give you an update. So next week, we're going to look at our ads, say, hey, either they're performing or they're not performing. And then if you are somebody that knows Google Ads or like, marketing, website design, and there's anything that you think maybe we're missing when we're going over how we're running ads, feel free to put a comment down in the comment section below. Like I said, if you're more knowledgeable than we are, we'd love to hear your opinion, kind of see if you're able to help us, whatever the case may be, because that's really what this is all about. We're basically making this podcast hopefully to show you how we were able to take lead generation, get out of our 9-to-5 jobs, make enough money to live the lifestyle that we want, so that if you're somebody looking to do that, maybe this is the vehicle that you decide to use based on the information that we give you. So we're always trying to just help other people make money, trying to help ourselves make money, just kind of live the lifestyle that we want to live.
Yeah, I
Got
mean,
anything else,
we're
Percy?
not. Yeah, I mean, we're not safe out here in these jobs. Everybody's getting laid off, and it doesn't matter if you're a good performer or not. If a company's going to cut 20%, they're going to cut 20%, whether you're in the top or bottom. Hopefully, if you're at the top, they don't. But sometimes they can't. It's not by choice. They just select a certain people, and it's just the way it is. So either way, there's a risk in having a job, and also there's a risk in having your own business. But either both, you're not safe in either. So you might as well go do something that's going to make you more money and make you more happy.
Right. And also not only like building a business, but also just learning a skill set. So like, let's
Yeah.
say you're somebody that is working a job you don't really like, and you say, hey, running Google ads might be a way to where you can still work for somebody else, but make more money. And maybe you enjoy running Google ads a little bit more than maybe working at a warehouse or something like that. Like, it's definitely a skill that you can take and definitely just like increase the amount of income that you make, or just kind of increase yourself as an employee, because not everybody wants to run a business. There are a lot of trials and tribulations that come for it, managing people, making sure that you're good with money and all this other type of stuff. And sometimes working for somebody else is, the better option if you're just not like entrepreneurial minded, or if you don't really want to run a business. But hopefully also watching this, you'll be able to learn different skills that maybe you can use to find a better career or find a better job or whatever the case may be too, which hopefully
Yeah.
helps out a lot of people. So
Or supplement your current income, like you said, like have a side hustle.
yeah,
Maybe
especially
you
going
just
forward.
get 1 or 2 clients. Two extra grand a month, maybe even more.
I was looking at what that really does for a person, just like an extra $2,000, and that's kind of what we preach for our
Dude,
agency too. Like, making an extra $1,000 to $3,000 a month, like, it doesn't necessarily change like the way that you live, but you can definitely take that money and send your kids to college, or you can invest for retirement, or get the house that you want. Like, I don't know too many houses that the mortgage is more than $3,000. I mean,
no.
if you do, you have an enormous house, but like, most people can live pretty comfortably on that amount of money, especially if it's completely separate than your actual normal income. Or maybe you're somebody that has like you and your partner work and you really want your partner to stay home, maybe you have kids or whatever the case may be. Making a little bit of extra income can definitely allow you to, live a better lifestyle, in my opinion. So
Yeah, you definitely want your side hustle to pay some kind of vice or some kind of expense that that you have, that you just, you can say, hey, you know what, the business pays for it, my side hustle pays for it.
yeah,
You
thanks.
know, I got a nice truck, my business pays for that. So
Or
it's nice to always know that.
I got a nice house, or I take a lot more vacations or another vacation every year and something else is paying for it. So just having
Hmm.
passive income is really important, and especially when you can get that passive income to get to a point where it's replacing your main income. And then you can really decide, hey, do I love my job or do I just do it to make money? Because I know some people out there love what they do. Like some people are teachers, some people are firefighters or policemen, and they love what
But they
they
don't make
do. Don't get me, they don't
any
make enough
money.
money.
They
Facts.
don't make enough money. All
And
the
that
jobs that actually people love are like, usually you're teaching kids or, you're saving lives. Everything that like that's dope like that, that's
don't make no money.
fulfilling. They don't make no money. Like
It's
it's
I
kind of
was also
crazy.
looking at it though. It's hard to scale those type of jobs because you can only manage so many kids. Like if you're a teacher, like you only make so much money because they're not going to give you 100 kids every class to like watch over and teach because there's just too many of them. So like teaching in itself is not very scalable as compared to
No.
if you are selling information online, like selling courses and doing YouTube videos, like that's infinitely scalable compared to like actually being a teacher. And I think that's where a lot of people are going to transition to, going to the like content creation space of still like feeling that drive and that passion of teaching people, but now just doing it over the internet instead of like in person and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I'd rather watch a video at home than actually go to class.
Yeah. I mean, I don't mind like college, or I guess just learning in general, like going to a classroom. Like, I don't mind it. It's just like, in my opinion, being a business major, a finance major, I didn't learn how to run a business in college. So I felt like it was just four
No.
years kind of just like, this is how you're supposed to manage people. But until you actually do it, like none of that stuff actually matters.
No, I can't honestly remember many classes in business that I took, to be honest. Other than accounting,
Yeah,
assets plus liabilities and all
that's
that.
about it.
Yeah, I remember that part. But other than that, I don't really remember business ethics. I didn't really pay a lot of attention. I was honestly on my computer just looking up random shit, honestly, just sitting
How to
there.
make money. That's what I was looking at. I was like, how do I actually make money? Well, so I don't have to sit in this class all day.
Pretty much.
And
So
that's when I started
college
flipping
is,
stuff on eBay.
yeah, I used to fix like broken iPhones and then sell them, or crack screens and then just
I was like,
replace the
cause you can get
screen.
it, yeah, cause you can get a screen from like AliExpress for like $10 or
Yeah.
something.
Dude, or some people just didn't know. I feel like a lot of people know more now, but some people didn't know how much their iPhone was worth, like back in the day,
Facts.
like iPhone 5s around that era. And they would just sell them for cheap, man, like $50. Oh, it doesn't, whatever.
You can
Like
get
I don't
on
need it.
Facebook Marketplace or eBay, and you can get them for super cheap and like always resell them and stuff like that.
Yeah. People caught on though. I don't see a lot of people like lowballing their iPhones now.
No,
Like iPhone
because
10s, they sell them for about $800.
yeah,
Like,
they understand now. If you buying it second hand, you're gonna pay a premium because you want this for some reason. So I get that.
yeah.
But that's going to be the play, focusing completely on lead generation, making a whole bunch of content specifically about lead generation. I'm going to still make content on like Facebook dropshipping, Amazon FBA every now and then, but majority of my videos are going to be geared towards lead generation specifically, just so I can kind of keep my mindset geared towards that. I know Percy's going to be focused on the sales side, so his videos are still going to be related to sales because sales is probably the most important part of your business if you didn't know that. So getting good in sales is also really, really important.
I mean, sales is like, it's where you drive revenue. Without
Everything.
without it, without revenue, you don't got nothing, man. And you can't really close deals without picking up the phone. You
Yeah,
just
you
can't
can't close deals,
without.
but you can't close everything sales. Like you can't hire somebody without selling them on why they should work for you compared to work for the other companies that are hiring. Like everything's sales
Hmm.
related. Getting in a relationship is selling the other person why they should be with you compared to be with other people that want to be with them. So pretty much everything is sales. And once you get good at it and terms of you want to be able to sell somebody without them feeling like they're being sold to. You want to make sure that they're feeling like you're like actually helping them or solving an issue or solving a problem, because those are the that's the best time to sell. Because some people have this really negative connotation about what sales is, but if you're actually good at sales and you're helping people, like the best thing you can do is actually sell something.
Sell something of value. When you have something of value, people will pay you for infinite amount of
So,
money.
anything else you want to go over?
No, man, I think we got it. I think we just got to get that first client, and hopefully by the next call, we'll have the client lined up, ready to go.
So, number one, or I guess I should say, episode 1 in the books, Escaping the Rat Race, is going to be the series Percy and I are going to be working on, going to lead gen, trying to figure out how this business model works, trying to make sure it's profitable, and then trying to go to Bali. 10 clients is the goal. I'm going over to Bali. Hopefully we can make some vlogs, go over there, do some yoga by the ocean, whatever the case may be. But we really appreciate y'all stopping by on this beautiful Monday, and we hope you have a good rest of your day. Peace.
Peace.